Bonjour, Desperate Housewives super fans. Welcome back. This is We Know What You Did.
It makes us sick.
We're
We're
going
going
to
to
tell.
tell.
Guys, if you are watching on YouTube right now, I am committing a cardinal sin of my own and I am laying in bed because I am so tired. As the kids say now, I think I have crashed out today. I have been going for the past 30 days that I woke up this morning and I truly actually could not physically move. Like I've been laying in bed all day. I only allow myself to do this once a year, not being sick.
Yeah, it is highly unusual for you.
I've been globetrotting. I don't think I have stopped moving since I saw you in New York. Like I'm pretty sure I've been busy every single day.
Um, I'm Summer Moran,
I'm Christy Gomez.
and this is
Didn't we already go over this?
well, we never said our names.
They got the picture. It's fine. What are you eating?
Meatball.
Why?
I was hungry.
Okay. We haven't done this in so long, I forgot how to do a podcast.
I know. I know. We start with our moments of desperation.
Oh, well, what was yours?
I've had a number, but you know that one of mine was last Sunday. No, last Monday when I was dog sitting. This like topped the charts for me in terms of moments of desperation. I was dog sitting, super fans, and the dog is this really sweet giant mutt named Tilly, and I've dog sat for her before, not for like any length of time, but we've gone on walks, we've hung out, we're good. And I was on my way to meet my friend Nancy with Tilly in hand. So I'm walking to meet Nancy in Brooklyn, by the way, like not my neighborhood. It's like the backwoods of Bushwick. And Nancy's only like a 10-minute walk away. So I was really excited to go meet up with her and just like have a little croissant and like my morning drink. And I bent down to adjust Tilly's harness because it looked a little loose. And in that time, a man who was walking down the street minding his own business was attacked by Tilly. She lunged at him. She like nipped at his pants. And I pulled her aside and I scolded her really hard. And I said, "You don't do that. You don't do that." And we started to walk away because like I thought everything was fine. But then a moment later, he starts calling after me and he turns and his pant leg is like drenched in blood.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, like he's actively bleeding. He was in jeans and you see it like soaking through his pants. So to make a long story short, Desperate Housewives superfans, I stood on the side of the street sobbing for 30 minutes while we waited for an ambulance to show up.
He's
And
dramatic. Come on.
well, I don't know that it was him. There was some lady friend with him. I don't know if it was like a cousin or a girlfriend or a wife or what have you. But she was placing a lot of phone calls. She's the one who called the EMTs. And it took like a solid 25 minutes for the ambulance to get there. The man is standing upright the entire time, by the way. Like he's just kind of hanging out, looking around, maybe a little confused, if anything, as to like, bro, what? Because he said he was just like walking to work. He was this like 60-year-old guy, but like looked younger, seemed to be in good health. And Nancy met up with me because I called her crying right before I called you crying. And listeners, I did not know what to do. Like, I've never been in this situation before. This was not my dog. And I called Christy and I was like, "I'm so sorry. I know you're in Paris, but like, I don't know what to do." And I was just really having the worst time of my life. And not to mention, this was my day off from work. The sun was shining. It was like 60 degrees. I'm feeling good before all of this. I'm like, "Ooh, today's going to be a great day." Nay, nay. So so the EMTs come. Turns out the dog broke the skin, which is, not great. Um, and the dog is like up to date on all of her vaccines, but the guy went to the hospital anyway just to get checked, just to make sure. And we had to file a police report. And the cops were talking to me. And the female cop was very, very nice. We were chatting. She kind of humbled me a little bit for a second because I said something about, like, oh, well, I'm definitely older than I look. And she asked me how old I was. And she goes, no, you look your age. And I was like,
Period. Love
okay.
her.
Okay. So I was laughing at that and then, half laughing, half crying. And she was trying to calm me down. And she was like, listen, this is not a criminal thing. Like, if this guy decides to sue you, it's not going to go to criminal court, it's going to go to civil court. And so I'm crying and I said, well, if he wants to sue me, you should know that I only have $400 in the bank. But this officer was laughing so hard and she goes, Miss Morin, you're funny. So I rode the high of that compliment for the rest of the day because I was like, thanks, I'm a comedy writer. And I made a cop laugh. And it was not meant to be a joke. I was just explaining my suffering. So that was the best part of the otherwise terrible situation. Everything's fine now, but we haven't heard from the guy, which is good because either he's like totally fine and he's not taking it to court, or he's dead.
Well, that's good because apparently in these situations, if it happens more than once, they can like have the court demand that the dog gets put down. Isn't that crazy? I think if it happens twice, if like the dog has a history of violence, it's a terrible law, and I think whoever created that should die. Like a dog could bite my finger off, and I would say, "Oh my God, it's my fault. Sorry."
So, what was yours?
God, I had a lot of them.
You saw the
So
Jonas Brothers again.
yeah, it was fine. So I was in Paris and I had so much fun. My friends who I was with, again, like you said, literally every French person we met thought we were really funny because we were just like kind of riffing the whole trip, and every server, every barista, every person on the street, shopkeeper was giggling, laughing at us. They all thought we were like hysterical, funny, loud Americans. So that was really fun. Got to move
Yeah.
there. But yeah, fun trip. Really not much desperation. Oh, um, I think I have beef with like this Jonas Brothers fan who I've never spoken to before. So we go to the show. So Joe Jonas was doing his he was doing a what's it called? Pop-up show for his album that just doesn't have a date in Paris. And
Cup of Joe.
no, he's releasing an album that was supposed to come out 2 days ago and then he canceled it, but is still doing shows to promote it. None of it really makes any sense. Um, but we were walking to pick up our tickets for the show, and he just starts walking by us on the street, and I clock him, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Like I'm going to play hard to get, and I kind of look away, but like I'm seeing him in the corner of my eye, and I see him. He crosses. He looks right at me, looks at my friend, looks at me again, smiles really big, and then goes back to neutral. And this goes, "Hey guys," and we just went, "Hey," and kept walking because I was like, "That's my friend. Like I don't need to talk to him anymore." And then we go to the show. Like it was fine. So we get home. I like change for the show. Spoiler, like disclaimer, I know I look really terrible right now, but I looked actually stunning gorgeous for this show. Like one of my best looks, to be real. So I'm stepping out of the car, and barely is my body out. Jazz and Sarah went out the other door. It was just me this door. I hear in an American accent, "Ooh, a comeback, a comeback. What's this comeback?" And I was just like, there's no way this can be directed at me. And this little girl with a pixie cut is staring right at me. Little girl is probably my age. This pixie cut girl. So we're going to call her Pixie. She's just going, a comeback, a comeback. Look at that comeback, comeback. And I was like a bit uncomfortable because I looked over there. Her and these two other broads are staring right at me. So I was like, okay, this is really uncomfortable, but I'm just going to ignore and look really cool. And then I hear her go, I mean, she's gorgeous, but, and I turned and I clocked and I looked, and then she stops staring at me. And again, like let me find a picture of this night, because like I really looked stunning gorgeous. So like I knew she had to be talking about me. And I've never seen, like I've seen this girl like like in passing before, maybe online, like just on Twitter. For reference, this is how amazing I was looking. Like
Yeah, you
I
sent
look
me that.
fantastic. Like I maybe have seen her on my like popular page on Twitter or something. I don't follow her. We've never interacted. So I was like, okay, like girl, what's your beef? So then after the show, we were like sitting at this little cafe and we sent our friend to like spy on like all the fans around, see what was going on. But we have her on FaceTime. So we had her like scream at, ooh, Christy Gomez, ew, 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 to see if anybody would respond, but they didn't. And then the girl walks by again, looks at me, rolls her eyes.
Pixie?
Pixie looks at me and rolls her eyes. And I was like, what is happening here? And then Jasmine, as they're turning the corner, goes, what's your problem with my friend? Stop bullying my friend. But I simply never found out because I'm like, truly, we've never spoken. I don't interact with any Jonas Brothers fans ever,
Yeah.
ever since I've elevated and I hang out with them now. Um, I mean, if anything, like when I used to tweet about them, I would just be like, at a Jonas Brothers show, I hate all the other fans. You're all stupid and look ugly. But like, I don't think that that would be a problem.
Yeah, no, why would it be?
Yeah. So I don't know. So that was my first moment. That was my moment of desperation in Paris. My second moment of desperation, I think I
Oh
have to
no.
keep this story a little bit light. Um, but I kind of got to tell the listeners. So my friend has this ex-boyfriend, and I sincerely hope he's
Mm,
listening. And long story short, we're out at our friend's birthday, and he shows up to the bar unannounced, uninvited. So what did I do best is I went outside, I cursed him out and told him to get out of the state, never contact her again, and I never want to see him again. And I would have said a lot worse things about how he's unemployed and not talented, but I got cut off. But he was literally sociopath evil. It was so
yeah.
crazy. So I just want listeners to know that I love yelling at people, I think, and I've been riding like a high and sleeping like a baby ever since.
I would like to employ your services of yelling at people. Like, I have a few on my list that could use.
For who?
Like, I don't even know off the top of my head, but just a few people who I think just need to be yelled at.
That's so funny that you say that because friend in question was like, I appreciate what you did, but like, I don't think anybody deserves to be yelled at like that. And I was like, I think that they do. I think they do. And I said, I was like, apologies for making you sad, but I don't apologize for my actions.
Yeah, yeah,
Guys,
yeah.
I will tell full story on the Patreon if you're interested
Yeah.
because it's really good. But I don't know. If there's one thing about me, and I told my mom about it, I thought she'd be really mad at me, but she was proud of me.
Okay, you want to get into the episode?
So this episode was called season 3, episode 7, 8.
This is season 3, episode 8.
Oh, called Children and Art.
I hope we watched the same episode. That's like always my fear with the start of these is that you and I like didn't watch the same episode.
Why wouldn't we watch the same episode?
Because I feel like maybe sometimes I might get it wrong.
What was this episode about to you?
This was the one that had. You know what? No, I think it's right.
What is it?
Like we start with Mrs. McCluskey.
Yes.
Okay. And it's this montage of Mrs. McCluskey helping others in her own special way. And one of the people she's, presumably going to help is Mike because she starts like trying to effectively break into his garage. And Edie pops out and she confronts her and she's like, "Why are you here?" And one line that I just thought was so funny was Edie says, "Don't lie to me, prune."
And she basically says she's trying to get the lawnmower and she's like, well, I saved the pictures of Susan and Mike that you threw out, so I can give them back if you don't give me the lawnmower. And she gives her the lawnmower.
Then we have the Girl Scouts and a Girl Scout who, for some reason, just looks super familiar. Who is she?
She was on it, I think, the Fosters, and she's been in my Pilates class a few times.
Well, I definitely don't know her from your Pilates class, but
Also, my night the other night ended up hanging out with one of Demi Lovato's ex-boyfriends. And I don't know why this happens to me again.
hmm, yeah, that's pretty cyclical for you.
I was like, what? This is the third Demi Lovato ex-boyfriend I've hung out with.
Wait, who was the second?
Joe Jonas.
Oh, right. Who was it? Wilmer Valderrama?
No, he was on As the Bell Rings.
Oh, they dated?
He told me that. And then I found a picture of them online together. So
I loved As the Bell Rings, and I could not tell you why.
I like don't remember. I didn't recognize him from the show, but he was hanging out with my neighbor. We were in her apartment and we said something about Demi Lovato and she just started laughing and looked at him and she was like, "You can say it." And he was like, "No, I don't want to." And she goes, "He was on Us the Bell Rings." And I looked him up and I looked at his IMDb and he was like a regular on it.
Well, I think there were what, 3 episodes?
There was a lot.
Really?
Yeah, he's not the one who was then in MKTO. He was the other one.
What is MKTO?
A band.
Never heard of it.
It's the guy you don't hear about a lot of things. It's the guy from As the Bell Rings and the kid from Lost.
Oh my God, can you be more specific?
No. I mean, I gave you the name of the band, so I don't know what else you need.
Yeah, but okay, I'm only on episode 2 of Lost, so I don't know who the kid is.
Oh. Um oh my god, I can't remember his name. With the dog. There's one kid on that show.
Oh, I don't think I've gotten up to that yet.
I mean, he's in the first episode.
He's a kid?
Yes.
Is he like our age now?
Yeah. Just about, maybe a little bit older.
Okay. Well, anyway, the Girl Scout goes up to Gabby, and Gabby hijacks this girl's like little sales pitch and starts showing her all the magazine covers that she's modeled on. And
Wait, sorry, what I thought was interesting about this was they talk about Vogue, but this is knockoff Girl Scouts. So
huh,
they could clear Vogue, but couldn't clear Girl Scouts.
that actually doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because I guess Girl Scouts are never in a show. Because if something's mentioned like that, like you have to clear it. So
Right.
I was very surprised.
Well, the Girl Scouts of America might not have wanted to be represented on Desperate Housewives, but mostly because of the subject matter, I would think.
Well, sounds like their problem.
I agree.
Anyway, I did just keep referencing them as Girl Scouts though. So then she basically says, like, you should go back to modeling. And then the next scene is her telling the girls that she wants to go back to modeling. And then Lynette comes home with her sling.
And she sees the new neighbor watering his lawn. Uh, at this point, I haven't caught his name, so I'm like, has his name ever been said before now?
I don't think so. I have it here somewhere. Was his name Art?
Yes. Oh,
That's why it's called Children and
and
Art.
art.
Whoa.
Oh man.
That's kind of
Okay.
spooky. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh.
Um,
Okay.
so the kids don't know she was shot, and she told them that she got in a fight with a hobo. And I just think we have to bring that word back because I don't know why it got offensive, but I love the word hobo.
I know it's like silly.
Yeah, I remember when I was in a role play American Girl birthday party in the 4th grade, I played the role of the hobo.
We're gonna unpack that later. I just don't have time for it right now. We will get to that at some point. Then we go to the Van de Hodge household, and Bree is starting her Christmas cards with Andrew there. And Orson comes in, and Bree says that she needs Orson's mom's address to send him a Christmas card. And Orson gets super, super weird and like closed off about giving her his mom's address.
Yeah, he's basically like, I hate my mommy, I hate my mommy, I hate my mommy. I don't know. He was like really, I didn't like him in this episode. He was weird.
Yeah, I agree. And like the thing is, Orson, if you had just not made it a big thing, then she wouldn't have like pushed so hard for it, you know?
Right. He
Like
could
if
have
you
just
just
said, I'm not close with my mom right now.
yeah, but even if you just like gave her a different address, if you gave her some random address back east, wherever you're from, then it would have been done with. Like she never would have even gotten the Christmas card, but no, you had to make it a big deal.
But you have to remember, he's reading the Paul Young handbook, the Paul Young playbook. So he's not getting good
Taking a
advice
page
here. Mm,
out of the Paul Young playbook,
yeah. Like chapter 4, how to be as suspicious as possible with your partner
yeah.
and anybody else who asks.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So then Susan and Ian get home because Susan was worried about Julie, and Ian's like, "Oh, I can't wait to do all the things I want to do to you while Julie's in the house. And after we talk to her and tell her everything's okay, I'm gonna take you up to the bedroom, and you're gonna dress me up as a schoolboy."
Oh my god.
And then they open the door, and I almost said Austin and Allie. Austin and Julie are making out on the couch, and Ian's first reaction is, I'm not going to get spanked like a bad little schoolboy tonight, am I?
I really hate so much of that. I hate so much of that. So when I saw Julie and Austin hooking up, like I guess just something in me forgot that this was how it happened, and I gasped. And like in my mind's eye, I guess because of the way we're watching this, Julie is still 14, and I know we've been over it. I know we've been over it, but like in my head, she's still a kid and not like a teenager. So that was weird for me. But then Susan obviously has a what, Christy?
Sack attack.
She has a Zack attack, but Julie stands her ground the whole time.
And it's just like, again, it's like you've raised Julie to be an adult since she was like she could talk. So, and it's definitely showing now. I saw a lot of myself in Julie here because her mom can't discipline her because she's like, what are you talking about? I've been the responsible one this entire time. So now I'm going to do
Yeah.
whatever I want.
She kind of made a point.
Yeah, she did. Like you can't choose now to be a parent.
Right, right.
And then Edie, like, so all this is going on. Ian's like, I guess I have to go home because I'm not getting any tonight. And she looks out the window and she sees Edie taking Mike home, and then she gets sad.
Yeah, and then Summer also got sad.
Please don't talk about yourself in the third person.
And then we go to the detective. I don't know his name, but he's like the detective of Fairview. And he basically wants a search warrant to search Mike's house. He calls it the Delfino search warrant.
And he basically says that the wrench that killed Monique was a professional grade wrench only used by professional plumbers. And I just want to know if that's a real thing, like a professional grade wrench.
I mean, it sounds like such a. It sounds so fake that either it's definitely real.
But like maybe if everybody had these professional strength wrenches, then nobody would need a plumber. It's like the AI of the wrench.
Okay, can I please go off about the next scene?
Sure.
Gabby, who now is hyperfixated on going back to modeling, she goes to see her old agent in New York City, and she's not necessarily welcomed back with open arms because they had a bit of a falling out before Gabby left. And so the agent, her name's Marcella, she says something like, "Oh, you called me a career obsessed lesbo," which is just such a crazy phrase. And apparently, when Gabby was getting married to Carlos and leaving, like she dropped everything to have the life that she had in the suburbs. And Gabby really wants Marcella to take her back. And she's like, "What do you want me to do?" And Marcella says that she wants her to grovel, but then she's like, "No, no, no, I'm just joking. Like, welcome back." So now Gabby can potentially get some modeling work from this crazy lady.
I kind of hated this scene, and the dialogue just kind of felt too sitcom-y for me,
Oh, really?
where it just didn't feel like it fit with the tone of the show.
Why do you say that?
Because it just, when she was like, I can't tell what you're saying because you have so much Botox in your face. Like, I don't know. It just didn't
Oh,
feel like it. It just felt like cheap humor that just wasn't funny. And also, I don't know. Eva Longoria's acting was just off in this scene too. Like, it just feels like it
really?
was maybe directed to be a bit more camp, like not campy, but like goofier and sitcom-y because that's how it felt. But I just didn't like it.
Well, this is also the first time, I don't know if it's the only time, but it's the first time we're seeing Gabby in New York, like in a
Right.
different place, aside from maybe a flashback or something.
So then Bree goes to the nursing home to see Orson's allegedly ailing mother, and she's completely fine and completely lucid and a little bit rude.
Gloria is so, like, I hate to say it, but she looks so fabulous.
She reminded me of my aunt Lisa a lot. They just had the same vibes.
Is Aunt Lisa alive?
No,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. And yeah, so she says they have a complicated relationship, and Bree is um yapping about it. Whatever. Sorry, guys. I'm so not lucid today. Like Gloria is way more lucid than me. I'm literally in the anti or Gloria Hodge right now.
Alley Org.
What?
Your Alley Org. That's Gloria backwards.
I might laugh on that on a different day.
Wait, G. Okay, spell Gloria for
We're
me.
not doing this. Then the next scene, the kids find out about the shooting at school. Parker and Preston think it's really cool that she got
No,
shot.
no, no,
Sorry, Parker and
um,
Porter.
no. Peanut.
Porter
Wait,
and Preston.
Porter and Preston.
Porter and Preston think it's so
Pumpkin and
cool.
peanut.
They're literally like pew pew pew. But then Parker is freaks out and gets really clingy on Lynette. Parker was kind of giving you this episode.
I know. I know.
No, I was like, this is literally summer core.
Yeah, like having to stay with your mom to protect her is very me core.
Yeah. Then Susan goes to Edie and she's like, we can't. The kids cannot be dating. And Edie's like, they're literally in love. Like, where have you been?
Can we talk about why Susan had to go to Edie? Julie rides off on the back of Austin's
Wait, I
motorcycle.
kind of missed that. Good for
Yeah,
her. I'm Team Julie.
I agree that Julie is like in the right, but I feel like she's twisting the knife.
I think as she should. Her mom has never had to discipline her because she's been like the responsible one in the household. So you literally can't start now. Like at
Right,
16,
right,
that's
right.
old enough where it's like you do know and you can make your own decisions.
Wait. My note says Mike comes out, but I know that he's not gay.
He comes outside.
Oh.
And then Susan's like, I have to go by. So then it's Parker being really clingy on Lynette. And she's like, I have to go to the store. And he's like, last time you went to the store, you got shot, please. My thing is, how does Lynette not have PTSD from going to the store?
Right. Completely agree.
And then she sends McCluskey, and McCluskey's like, nobody cares if I get shot. And he's like, no.
Then Gabby has booked a modeling job. She shows up on set and she's talking to her co-model Tanya as if she's like a fifth grader or like even younger. And Gabby's, you know how when somebody doesn't speak English and the person trying to communicate with them speaks louder and slower, like that's kind of what it was giving to me.
But it's funny because this is exactly what Brie, we didn't talk about it, but that's what Brie was doing to Gloria too. When she first walked up to Gloria, I noticed the parallels there because when she went up to Gloria, she was like, "Hi, Gloria, nice to speak with you." And Gloria was like, "Why are you talking to me like I'm a
Yeah. I forget what like phrase she used, but it was like that.
yeah." So then gets upset because she's cast as a mom, and then the photographer she was just bragging about that she knew doesn't remember her. And then she's like, she goes to chop off her little dress so she can be hot mom, and then they're all like, "You're 30 now, you're old, you're put out to pasture, so
which
you
is
have to have the mom role."
crazy.
It is really crazy because this was so true of the time, but
Yeah.
now it's like a 30-year-old model is young.
Oh
Like
my
Gigi
God. Yeah.
Hadid is 30 or like 29 or 30. Like all like the top Victoria's Secret models are 29, 30.
And like to cast a 30-year-old as a mom, like, is so bizarre in my head.
Yeah, but I will say it is the way that she's dressed because when Eva Longoria was in that first outfit, she could have passed for like a beautiful 45.
You think?
Yeah. Well, that was the point. And then then they dressed her down and she looked 25. It's the whole like Golden Girls theory where all those women are like in their 40s, but because they had gray
No.
hair like that, it just made them look a lot older. They're all like 40 and 50.
That's not
But if
possible.
they had like long hair like J-Lo, like one of them is the same age that Jennifer Lopez is now. I think Blanche. Hmm. But it's like the hair theory or something.
That's really weird. I want to look that up.
Yeah. Because I'm fascinated by this because like 40-year-olds. Okay, yeah. Have you ever seen oh my god, Father of the Bride?
No.
Well, I've never watched anything. You never have seen anything. You don't listen to any music. You don't listen to any podcasts. Like you don't consume any media at all unless it's
Listen
on
to me, Christy.
TikTok.
Come on. Come on. Listen to me. Come on.
Well, I'm just spitting facts.
No, it's true.
Susan has Julie and Austin over and basically is like, all right, I'm going to play good cop, bad cop. So she invites Carl over. And then Carl is yelling at Austin, but Austin kind of flips the narrative around, starts talking about Ian. So then Carl comes back and he goes, I stepped aside because you said the plumber was forever. So who's Ian? Who's this Ian guy? And Susan's like, no, we're talking about Julie and Austin. He goes, I don't care about them. I want to know about Ian, 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 Ian.
I feel like this is so not fair because Carl acts like he has any like possession over Susan and he doesn't.
Well, yeah, he's very possessive. That's his whole shtick.
But like you're divorced.
I just don't think any of this is fair at all. Like, I don't think,
Yeah.
like, the way they're treating Julie, it's like she's 16 now. Don't treat her like she's a kid because it's her formative years. She should be allowed to do what she wants. Don't make her feel guilty.
Yeah, you're a champion for Julie Meyer.
I am. I get her. So then Lynette goes to talk to the neighbor Art to help with Parker,
Or
and because Art was the one who was in the grocery store with her, so he comes over and he's like, "I'm a superhero. I'm Protector Man," and Parker doesn't believe it, and he shows his shirt, and he's like, "Oh, wow, cool."
I thought that was like kind of a clever way of doing it because Parker was reading a comic book and so they kind of like used something that would have been one of his interests anyway. So
I guess I just think
it's a
Parker's just kind of
creative
stupid.
choice.
I wouldn't have bought that as a kid.
You are not most kids.
I was too smart. My mom and I were when we were talking about my outburst. Um, we were talking about this time when I was 6 and I had just learned to write. And I told this
You
to
didn't learn
friends.
to write till you were 6?
That's like a normal age to write. I was very early on reading and writing, so I feel like that was probably the age I was writing. You learn to write when you're 5 or 6.
I'm just saying I was writing. I wrote a book when I was 4. It was called The Littlest Sunflower.
That's probably not true. But anyway,
It
so I
is.
was
I have copies. I will I will mail you a copy of The Littlest Sunflower.
I didn't ask for one. So I was at a young age in which I just learned to write at some point,
Uh-huh.
and my mom had bought this dresser from this her friend who was moving, and then the woman was like, "Never mind, I want that back because I got a better offer." And my mom was really upset about it, so I heard her like talking about it. So I wrote a ransom note, and I was like, "My mommy bought this. It's hers. How dare you give it back?" I put it in the dresser and I shut the drawer and I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't tell anybody. I put the note in there. And then my mom said, because we were talking about it, and my mom said, when she came to pick it up, I was screaming at this woman saying, "How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? This is ours. We bought it with our own money." And then she got home, sees the note, And she calls my mom, like, yelling, being like, well, how dare you put your daughter up to something like this? And my mom was like, I didn't. She did
What?
that on her own. And she was like, I really find it hard to believe that like a 6-year-old would write a note like this on her own.
Oh my God. No, that's actually insane.
My mom was like, yeah, it was like a pirate ransom note in crayon. My mommy bought this.
That's so funny.
So yeah, I wasn't like other girls.
Or other Parkers.
Yeah. Sorry, Parker. I wouldn't have fallen for your tricks.
So then the cops pull up to Mike's house with a search warrant.
And he's like, you can't search my house. And they're like, yeah, we can. That's kind of it.
And then we're back on set. Gabby's agent shows up and basically rips her a new one. I actually thought it was a well done scene.
I did too. Because then it just kind of like, it was, I mean, I didn't love the first scene, but I kind of like the storyline where it just kind of like wrapped up with a bow Gabby's hopes and dreams.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's like, if that didn't happen, she always would have wondered. Um, then McCluskey goes, I guess she saw the people doing the search warrant, and she goes to Mike and brings him his tools or something.
yeah. Like his toolbox because they couldn't find his toolbox in the
Right. And
house.
she could have just kept her mouth shut. But she says, he asks her if she's Martha Huber.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, no, she was killed and buried in somebody's backyard in the woods. Crazy, huh?
Which, like, here's the thing. If Mike's amnesia goes back to 2004, that happened, like, kind of early on. I feel like he should be remembering that.
I think his amnesia is very much like Mary Alice's funeral, and that's it.
Oh, okay,
Like very,
okay,
very early, before anything had happened.
okay. So, like, the pilot.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he just factory reset.
Aw.
So then Orson comes home and he's shocked that his mom is there. And he said something super abusive. Because she's like, I want to go back to my house. And he's like, oh, I sold it and all your
Yeah,
property. That's really
yeah.
messed up, actually.
It is. I wrote, this is technically his fault. And I think it's just going back to that whole, like, if you hadn't made this a big deal, they wouldn't be there right now.
Right. If he, like, you don't have to speak to your mother, but like, she can just have her own house and stuff. You don't have
Right,
to lock
right.
her up in the institution.
Bree references the fifth commandment as honor thy father and thy mother, which is funny because I learned it as the fourth. Um, Strangely enough, like it's still somewhere deep seated in my brain, but I did look this up, and depending on which version of the Bible you read, it's either the fourth or the fifth. And then Bree tells Orson to show Gloria some respect. So she's like very adamant about this.
I don't remember the commandments.
I was in 12 years, 14 years of Catholic school, one of those.
What are they? List them.
Um, the first one is, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have other gods before me. The second one is, thou shalt not take the name of your Lord God in vain. Keep holy the Sabbath day. Honor thy father and thy mother. You shall not kill. You shall not steal. You shall not commit adultery. Thou shalt not, oh, what's the eighth? Oh, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Whoa,
Thou
whoa,
shalt
whoa,
not
whoa, whoa.
covet
What is false witness against thy neighbor?
lying.
Hmm.
You're like, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods.
I feel like I follow those pretty well. It's not thou shall not tell somebody they should die. So
Have you stolen? Have you ever stolen something?
no. There was one time I accidentally stole a charm from Disney World when I was 7, and I literally was panicking. I thought that the police were gonna come get me because I bought a purse and it was in there, and I didn't know, and I was freaking out.
Oh my God, that's amazing. What
I
kind
know
of
I'm
charm was it?
too noble. I don't remember, but it was like they used to have this thing. I don't know what store it was in, but I had a little like denim purse, and you could pick charms for it.
So cute.
So I picked charms, but then there was extras inside. I didn't know that, so I freaked out.
Well, cops, if you're listening.
Please, statute of limitations.
Gloria says that she wants to be friends, and Orson doesn't believe her. She also says that she wants to be out of the nursing home, and she leaves sort of with like this ominous word. I said an ominous word. I don't remember her exact verbiage, but it was something like, "You should know better than anybody how I operate," basically.
Yeah, so we see that they were in cahoots for something.
Yeah.
Um, and then Julie apologizes to Susan, and Susan's like, thanks. It's just a little hard to see because of your 16 years of being perfect.
And then going back to Bree at the Vanda Hodge household, Bree talks to Gloria as she's leaving. You know, the car comes to take her back to the nursing home, but the guy, the driver, like pops into the house to use the bathroom, and Gloria is being nonverbal, and Bree is like, "Please talk to me, please let me in." And Gloria like moves over to the driver's seat, and Bree is like, "Oh, I didn't mean like literally let me in," but she gets in anyway, and Gloria carjacks.
I don't know why Brie would fall for that. Why are you going to let this woman in the driver's seat?
I know.
Um, yeah, she crashes the van, and then Bree's like, I want you to move in. Like, she just committed grand larceny and then crashed the car into your neighbor's house. And she goes, she needs to move in. Meanwhile, there was one point that Andrew was just like watching this all go down.
Right, right, right.
Like, he was just sitting there, like, Sean, whatever his name is, was just sitting there, like, getting paid to just giggle.
You know, what he's on that I'm watching right now?
What, Monk?
Reba.
He's on Reba?
Yeah, as a
No
kid, like
way.
a little kid.
No way. I've never watched the
Yeah.
show in full, just a couple episodes on ABC Family.
Yeah, I'm loving Reba. I'm going back and forth between that and Monk, and so to see various Desperate Housewives actors on both of those shows has been uh, quite amusing. But I think I want to call this episode something like Gloria's Grand Theft Auto because, like,
Gloria's
she's
Grand
just.
Larceny.
But Grand Theft Auto is like
No,
really
Grand Theft
funny.
Auto is really funny.
And Brie doesn't understand how Orson can be so cold towards this woman. But it's I like why is Brie like ignoring the facts? Do you know what I mean?
She loves ignoring the facts.
She does.
When it comes to a man, she ignores the facts.
She's so me. And then Gloria threatens Orson with like, "I'm gonna tell Brie the truth," and we don't really know what the truth is.
Oh yeah, she pretty much threatens his life. She goes, I brought you into this world, I can take you right back out, but says it's a lot more sinister. So then
That's
I
what
guess
Aunt
that's like
Carrie
a
always
good,
says.
huh?
That's what Aunt Carrie always says.
Okay, okay, Gloria kind of has Aunt Carrie vibes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see that. Um, so then Gabby comes back from New York, and Susan's jogging, and she's like, I'm not gonna model anymore. And Susan's like, ah, but we were gonna miss ya.
Yeah, Susan is so happy. Susan can't take a hint.
No. And then Lynette goes to Art to thank him for helping, and she fully breaks into his house. Like, she just walks
Yeah.
in. Which if I got home and I saw my neighbor left me a note in my house, I'd be a little creeped out.
Yeah.
I would actually really hate that. Like, I don't know you like that. Like, if I walked into my apartment and my neighbor had just put something on my table, I'd be like, that's invasive.
Right. No,
In
it
the murder
definitely
house,
is.
nonetheless. The murder
Yeah, that's a
suicide
good
house.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Parker's running around being disruptive. They go down to the basement, and there's like this whole like toy area.
It's like a
Um,
wonderland for a kid.
yeah. And it looks like a full like retro arcade. And Lynette's like, wow, this is so cool. Then they see a wall full of topless underage boys.
I wrote that this was dark even for Desperate Housewives.
I think I know the storyline. I think it gets wrapped up in like the next episode. And I feel like the network execs were like, we can't put this on TV.
Yeah.
Like, maybe now this is something that they could do on like Netflix. But
Right.
even then, like even with the Menendez brothers, They were like, if this was a story that was being sold, like nobody would buy it.
Right. And like I think that's part of the reason I forgot everything about this. Um because it didn't occur to me like when Parker went down and you see him like playing with the pinball machine, I audibly said, "Oh no," even
Right.
before the pictures on the wall. And I feel like, seeing this sort of playland in his basement was almost enough, and we didn't necessarily need to see the visual of the photo wall.
Yeah, and I think when I was watching this when I was younger, it didn't affect me at all because like this isn't thankfully this has never been a reality that I've ever
Yeah,
been
yeah,
around. I've never been around somebody like this, so I didn't really get it, but I feel like now, especially with TikTok, I've been on like child abuse TikTok for some reason. And like all these like child abuse survivors are always popping up and telling their story. And I'm like, girl, what do you
yeah,
have to say? So now I feel like that I've been like exposed to those stories and like people talking about that a little bit
yeah.
more. Now I'm like, ooh, that's so chilling and creepy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Oh, and it made my heart race a little bit for Lynette in that moment. And she was like, "Okay, Parker, we gotta go, we gotta go." Like she wanted to get out of there.
But the fact that they showed that like wall, I think I remember how they explained it in the next episode is he was like um on a swim team, like he taught like a swim team or something. I think that's how he tries to explain it away.
Oh,
I'm pretty
well,
sure that's what it
I'll find
is. But
out.
like even then, why aren't these photos like out in like the hallway of your office and not in a basement?
Creepy.
Oh, now I'm finding a good angle at the end of this. I just like stayed like this the whole time.
Well, that's our episode.
Yeah, then just monologue of warning the young. And the last scene is the knockoff Girl Scout talking to Art, and Lynette is like
Yeah.
watching because her new personality is killing pedophiles, kind of just like my neighbor. He loves beating up hobos and um, pedophiles.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. I have to go to bed. It's almost midnight in New York City.
It's almost 9 p.m. I also have to go to bed. Apologies for this episode. We'll be better next week, guys.
You
I
say that every week.
No, I think we've had a good string of really good episodes. I just like have nothing in me. Like I'm literally sitting in my bed, and that's correct. You know, it's not. I'm not having a good time when I'm like actually laying in my bed all day. All right, guys. Until next time, I'm Christy Gomez,
I'm Summer Moran.
and this has been We Know What Art Did.
It makes us sick.
We're
We're
going
going
to
to
tell.
tell.
And
And y'all
y'all
come
come back
back now.
now.
Y'all
Yeah, heard.
hear?